All right, now we're in the segment of GeoSME, where Southeast Asia is home to over 70 million small and medium enterprises, where it is the backbone of its economy. But as climate risks intensify, SMEs are increasingly being called to play a bigger role in sustainability, where carbon financing, once a niche concept, is now emerging as a powerful tool to help businesses reduce emissions while unlocking new revenue streams. One of these startups leading this charge is Reclimate, where a climate tech company that transforms agricultural waste into climate solutions. So with operations expanding across 5 Southeast Asian countries, Reclimate is helping farmers and SMEs tap into the $10 billion carbon offset potential projected for the region by 2030. So joining me today is Yovindra Kanazin, the CEO and also co-founder of Climate. How are you? Good morning.
Hi, morning Nabila. Thank you for having us today.
Thank you for coming all the way to our studio. Perhaps to start, we could start with tell us a bit more on Reclimate and what you guys do to help actually becoming with sustainability in 2030.
Sure. So Reclimate is a climate tech company, like you rightly mentioned. We help the farmers to unlock value from their waste. Particularly what we realize is that waste produced in the farms can be used productively in the form of biochar. So a lot of farmers, as we all know, resort to 2 options when they have waste. Either they resort to open burning, which is very bad for the environment, bad for them, smoke, pollution, etc., etc. Or the other option is they just dump it around their farms, where it happens something what we call as uncontrolled decomposition, resulting in a lot of greenhouse gas emissions. By them turning into biochar, they can actually produce it's a type of fertilizer within their farms using their waste, where they can save costs and enjoy a better yield.
I appreciate what you do, and at the same time you're helping the farmers, and at the same time you're helping the green economy as well. But Reclimate has been recognized for transforming agricultural waste into biochar. I hope I pronounced it right.
Correct.
So what inspired this model, if you can share, and how do you see it scaling across Southeast Asia's diverse agricultural ecosystems?
Sure. So we started off as a climate tech company, but in the EV sector. So we were essentially providing opportunity for EV charge point operators, the charging station that you see out there, to access the carbon markets. But eventually, when we were doing that, what we realized is the whole global carbon market made a shift, where companies are now not looking at just reducing carbon emission. Reducing is good, but it has come to a point where if we want to tackle the climate crisis, we need to start removing the carbon. And one of the most matured technologies out there to remove carbon efficiently is biochar. So, and of course, us being in the heart of Southeast Asia, where it is an agricultural powerhouse, it just completely made sense for us to roll out biochar solutions across Southeast Asia. And secondly, we also don't want to be just a climate company. We also want to provide social impact to the farmers, to the very farmers who are often left out of these climate conversations.
And this Reclimate started in 2022?
No, we started off early last year. Our first project was in Malaysia, the first biochar project, and we made history where we were the first ever artisanal biochar carbon credits to be issued in Malaysia. And right now we have operations across 5 other countries, like you mentioned.
Amazing. And you use IoT, Internet of Things, to ensure the transparency in carbon credit generation. So how critical is this tech-enabled verification in building trust in voluntary carbon markets as a whole? And do you think this tech like this could become the standard for future climate finance platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. So, trust is one element that is really, often talked about when it comes to carbon markets, and we want to really issue high integrity carbon offsets. So that's why one of the first things that we did was, it really tackles 2 problems. One is human error. When you allow too many manual data input, it is subjected to human error. So we integrated IoT to reduce that error tremendously. And second thing is also, we don't want some parties to abuse the system and overestimate the impact. So both of these problems can be solved by us integrating the IoT sensors. So we have done that since last year, and now we are just scaling that solution across.
Amazing. Reclimate also is expanding into 5 Southeast Asian. Congratulations. What are the countries we may share?
Yeah, so last year we started off in Malaysia, and very quickly we realized that we have to prove it to the world that this solution is not just doesn't just belong to Malaysia and doesn't just belong to certain types of crops. So now we very quickly we expanded into Sri Lanka, which is a South Asian country, and right now we are the biggest biochar project in Sri Lanka, and we're expanding into Indonesia as we speak right now, and also looking at Cambodia and Laos and Philippines, and we are looking across many different crops, not just paddy. So in Malaysia we do paddy, woody waste, coconut, Sri Lanka coconut. Indonesia, we're looking at coffee, cocoa, and so on and so forth.
But are there different approaches when it comes to agricultural and sort of carbon markets?
Not fundamentally, but the outcome can be different because they are all different products essentially.
I see. But what are the biggest operational or regulatory challenges that you face? Because, you know, different countries when entering new markets, especially when it comes to sustainability.
Yeah, so we operate in an environment called Voluntary Carbon Market, VCM. So fortunately, most of these countries that we operate in do not regulate it directly, so the government doesn't get involved directly, but rather we are governed by international standards. So particularly the one that we use is called Carbon Standards International. It's based out of Switzerland, so we are rather governed by them, and it's good that you know, the governments don't get involved too much. So there's a little bit. It's more a liberal market. Yeah.
And right now we see that based on stats that we have right now is Southeast Asia holds an estimated $10 billion carbon offset potential by 2030.
Correct.
So what role do SMEs, like for example Green Climate as well, can actually play a role in unlocking this value, and also especially in nature-based solutions as a whole?
Yeah, so but just to add one thing is that we don't operate the nature-based solutions, although it looks very natural.
Okay.
It's called engineered carbon removal. So it's although it comes from the nature, but we still have some technology behind it to make it happen. But typically what we are telling the SMEs is a lot of people see sustainability as a cost. But what we have really proven to the market is sustainability can really unlock a lot of value. One is by you joining our program, especially the farms and plantations, they get to save costs outright, 50% in the fertilizer cost. Secondly, some of our clients are seeing as high as 60% better yield. That's very straight upfront benefit. And of course, thirdly, they're also unlocking carbon revenue where we pay them actual US dollars for every ton of biochar that they produced. So there is a lot of, so rather than just seeing sustainability as a cost, it can be seen as a new value for these SMEs.
What are some of the success stories that you can actually share to the viewers right now?
Sure. Right here in Malaysia, so when we started off last year, we worked with one SME called Seafood Tani Sdn Bhd, here in Selangor actually, and they are an organic certified plantation. They're the world's biggest lemon myrtle, which is a niche crop, and they're exporting it to Europe. You know, organic certified farms and plantations, one of their biggest challenges is the input. The fertilizer has to be certified, and it's expensive. So what we have helped them to do is to turn their waste into very high quality organic agriculture input, which is biochar. So straight up, they saw 50% cost savings in fertilizer, and then their yield also improved, and they're now able to serve very high profile European clients who are not just conscious about organic products, but also sustainable products. So they're able to now price their products much higher in the market.
But on the other side, we see that the region's carbon markets are still fragmented.
Correct.
So what kind of support or reforms do you think actually governments should prioritize to actually help SMEs thrive in this industry?
Sure. So of course, it's a bit fragmented, but where we are coming from, none of our credits are sold in this region. So 100% of our credits are sold in Europe or US, but the money is channeled to Malaysia and Southeast Asia to do the projects. I think one support that I really think the governments can support, many of the carbon projects today are very bankable. You know, we have got off-take agreements for the carbon credits for very long term. So one area that the governments can come in and do is help us to finance the project. It could be a government guarantee project or a government guarantee scheme, or it could be a direct financing scheme. It doesn't have to be a grant. It can be a financing where it can be repaid later once the carbon credits are sold. I think that would be a great lever for us to scale.
But are there any particular validations or credits or registry that you're working on to actually validate your credits right now?
Yeah, we are very much. So we were the first in Malaysia and many countries that we operate in. We use Carbon Standards International. That's the registry. It's based out of Switzerland. It is the leading standards for biochar. So they focus purely on biochar.
I heard that you participate in global challenges like Shell, LiveWire, and
Correct.
Korea ASEAN SDG Challenge. So how was that, and how have these platforms helped shape your strategy?
Sure. So the first ever challenge that we won was Microsoft Green Tech Challenge in Singapore. And actually, Microsoft is the world's biggest carbon credits buyer from carbon removal technologies. So actually, the first advice, so to speak, came from Microsoft to ask us to look into the carbon removal. So we actually adapted it, looking back right now. Not just that, we are also very lucky that we won Shell LiveWire in Malaysia. Globally, we were one of the winners of Shell Top 10 Innovators. And just 2 months ago in Philippines, we won Grow Asia Innovation Challenge.
Oh,
Grow Asia is backed by, thank you very much, is backed by World Economic Forum and ASEAN Secretariat. So we do win a lot of these things, and it really motivates us to go further beyond what we do.
We have about 2 minutes left. If you could share beyond carbon credits, how do you actually measure the social and also environmental impact of your project, especially in rural communities?
Sure. So we do both quantitative, which is coming directly from our platform, and qualitative data. So qualitative includes, we talk to the stakeholders, not just us. We bring in independent auditors from Germany to talk on an annual basis to these farmers to see how are they actually benefiting from it. Do they see the results? Those kind of information that we get. We also very rigorously test our biochar product because we understand it's associated with food systems. So we make sure there's no heavy metals, it's of high quality, and it doesn't bring in any detrimental effects to the the very people who are consuming the food products that are using biochar. So some of those things that we take into account.
So where do you see Reclimate perhaps in 5 to 10 years' time with all the technological advancements that we see right now?
Sure. We are very fast evolving. A lot of R&D has been going on as we speak. So one is, of course, very straight up, we want to scale across the region. Secondly, we are now pilot testing in another Southeast Asian country using mining waste to capture carbon. And thirdly, we have just signed an MOU with a local with an international mining company that's operating in Malaysia to turn ex-mining sites into carbon capture and storage sites. So those are some of the innovations that we are working on very hard, and we'll be scaling that in the next 5 to 10 years.